cancer. Now go live life. And you're like, I'm so happy. And like, that's just the character I have to play.
Yeah.
I throw a mask on without even knowing I'm throwing a mask on. I'm just like, well, I'm the happy cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Duh. Like, I love life.
Yeah.
Which I do. But then it's like, then I felt like I couldn't even be sad or like, I feel like on like, especially with social media, my presence was like smiling all the time and being happy. And I'm like, it's not real. No, it's not real life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Squeeze. You have one Taylor Lautner here and a Lily. If you're watching on YouTube, Remy's on the ground. But don't worry. Taylor is in our episode today. He's just not here filming the intro, and Lily is subbing in for Taylor, right? You subbing in for Dodo? Yeah? Perfect. Okay, well, today's episode I'm very excited about because it is a dear friend of ours, Harry Hudson, joined us. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a singer-songwriter. He is so talented, but Harry was diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma at age 20, which is kind of crazy. And we just kind of talked through, his story about, going through cancer and what that was like for him and the process of after, and just kind of all the details about that, but also all of the amazing stuff that he is doing. He has a foundation and they are doing amazing stuff for teen cancer patients. And this episode is just really inspiring. Harry's such a joy of a human, and his outlook on life shouldn't be as positive as it is because of, everything that he's gone through. And he's definitely faced a lot of loss and a lot of challenges in his life, and he should not be as happy as he is. And he is just a joy and just has such an inspiring outlook on life. And Taylor and I are so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. So without further ado, let's get this episode rolling.
The man, the myth, the ledge, Harry Hudson.
Wow.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm so excited to be here.
We're honored to
with
have
my
you.
favorite Taylors I've ever met.
I mean, I hope so. It is somewhat of a popular name, but
I don't think I know any other Taylors though.
wow. Okay.
So it's like, it's only when people say Taylor, I'm like, both of them in your head. My head is both of you.
So it really wasn't that much of a compliment, is what you were saying.
No, it's the biggest compliment. Guys, this is so. Now I'm just embarrassed.
You're like, you're just the only Taylors I know.
No,
Yeah, so that's why
but
you're
the
the
best
coolest.
Taylors I know.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's like, what is that? A backhanded compliment?
Well, sure. You're definitely the best Harry I know.
Wow. That
For
was,
sure.
that was a nice thing.
But you're also the only Harry I know.
Fuck.
Harry
What about
Styles.
Harrison?
Nope. No Harrisons.
Well, that's my real name.
It's Harrison?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harrison?
No, you're the only Harrison or Harry I know.
Is your full name Remington?
Stop.
That's our dog's full name. Remington.
Remington and Harrison.
That's so good.
That's a mouth. What are your middle names?
We're like brokers. Like
broker.
Remington and Harrison Stock Exchange.
Yeah,
or
for
like
sure.
You drive past, what's it called?
Yeah.
What is the old ring place where everybody had all the commercials about get your wedding ring here. Fuck.
Like a pawn shop?
You know what I'm talking about? Lee's or not, it was like
Yeah.
What is it? An
the
old jewelry
old famous
company?
like stuff, like they would sing a song and like get your wedding band here. It's
Yeah.
like and it would be on like corners of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
No,
thing.
I know what you're saying.
And then right next to it's like an H&R Block or something. And
Yeah.
then
Right.
right next to that would be like the Remington and Harrison.
Remington and
like,
Harrison.
Yeah, like
Like a law firm or something.
Yeah,
Law
exactly.
group.
yeah,
We
that's
fight for you.
yeah, we fucked up. Our parents were like, "Damn it, we made me for that." Yeah, we fight for you is so funny.
Oh,
We can
man.
make a graphic for that. Should we start the episode now?
Yes. Anyways, Harrison, we're very honored to have you because your story is truly remarkable. And I just want to say, as a friend, like, I am so honored to know you and just so proud of the human you are. You were not, dealt the easiest deck of cards by any means, but you have just turned it into just a beautiful person that gives back and helps so many people and shares your talent with the world. And I can just keep going on and on, but your story is amazing, and we're just so lucky to have you.
Thank you. Well, I love you. Wow.
Love you, buddy.
Man. Yeah, life has been a definitely wild. I'm like, I was just talking to you earlier, but like I just turned 30.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking back, I'm like, what was my 20s like? And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And you hear the stories of like when you're 20, like in your 20s, just like mess around and have fun and figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like try things if you don't know what you love and those kind of things. And I had a unique way of experiencing my 20s because I get diagnosed with cancer the same week I turned 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, it was jumped in like, I'm 20 now, like I'm about to be an adult. Like I just like felt that. And then it was like, no, you're going to be a patient and live in a hospital.
Different
and like,
plans.
Totally.
Yeah.
And from there, it was kind of like, okay, well, if I don't make it, right? Because now I'm 20 and I was thinking, I was making music. I'm about to get a record deal. I'm about to get money and maybe be famous. Like I'm just like thinking all these heads as a young kid or a young adult at that point. And then you get diagnosed and they're like, well, we don't know if you're even going to make it. We just have to see, right?
Yeah.
And then your mind like shifts, your whole brain shifts and you're like,
Can't
who
imagine.
am I even? I'm doing all this stuff, but like, is it even, I'm making music and then I'm listening to it. I'm like, it's not even me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what I think people want to hear.
Yeah.
And you step back and you're like, well, if I don't make it, what are these next couple months going to be? Or who am I going to be? And I was like thinking, I'm like, I haven't really been my authentic self,
Yeah.
right? Growing up. And I think that's that from 0 to 20, you're trying to figure out. So you're joining friend groups and you're meeting people that you're in class with that are like kind of like your forced friends.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think I like them. And I think, and I'm like, wait, but then I'm totally different. And then you go to a different friend group. It's like you're figuring it all out.
Yeah.
And then I kind of lost myself in the sense of that in high school and the competitiveness and the trying to keep up with your neighbor or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I got sick and I was like, fuck, like I don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I do die, maybe it's like God's, I believe in like the butterfly effect. And I think maybe God has a plan for everything and everybody. So I like embraced the death side, which was like my biggest fear.
Yeah.
And after I embraced it, I was like, if whatever happens, it's meant to be, and you have to talk to my brother, my parents and be like, it's okay if something does happen to me because it's like, that's just a part of the plan.
Yeah.
And I had to figure out how to love myself in the process of that,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, if I do beat this, then like I have a chance to be my full authentic self.
Yeah.
And I have the chance to, I believe there's 8 billion people and God hand created you. It's like the odds of being born is like 1 in 400 trillion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Like Google that. I was like, I thought a billion or something. It was like 400 trillion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we're all like trying to compete and compare and try to be somebody that's not us. And I'm like, imagine just like fully diving into who you are as a person and figuring out who that is. And so I think the cancer journey was the best way to figure that out. As like dramatic as it was. Yeah. Everyone's like, how was it? And I was like, it's the biggest blessing I could have asked for. It was like, so it's for me, I'm always like preaching and like telling my story because it's like, there's so many people who get diagnosed and there's so many people going through treatment and have cancer. But for those who don't, it's like learn through me to figure out, you don't have to be on your deathbed to be like, I understand who I am.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a lot of people, but it's usually when they're like actually on their deathbed and it's like, I regret life or I should have done something differently. Right.
Yeah.
And I think I learned a lot about that through chemo because I was 20. So I'm considered an adult in healthcare. Yeah. 0 to 19 is pediatric. 20 is adult. So I'm in a, the white room with the fluorescent bright lights and it's like this and we're all in a circle and it's me with like 60, 70, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds. And so everyone's like, you're like my grandchild. You should not be here right now. And then you're like, but I'm here. And they're just giving me all their life advice and what they regretted and what they wish they could have done different. And there's, a billionaire here who's like, I chased all this money and it's not saving my life, and there's a person over here who's like, I'm an art teacher and I never drew anything until I got sick and then I started traveling and drawing all the places I've always wanted to draw.
Oh wow.
I didn't have the courage to like raise money and go after my dream. It's like,
jeez,
that's most people in the world. And for me, I'm like, okay, so I got this unique opportunity to figure out who I am and what do I want in life. Right. Yeah. And it's like, for me, I knew I loved music. And music is like saved my life in a way of like, this woman who's the art teacher I was just talking about, she sat next to me and she was like, "What do you love to do?" This is my first chemo. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, this orange liquid's about to get pushed into me for 9 hours.
Oh gosh.
And like, I'm like, this is like the mood. Like your worst nightmare is just like, I'm right here now and you hear beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? This woman grabs my hand and she's like, well, what do you love to do? And I was like, well, what? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then she's like, what do you love to do? And she's like trying to be funny and be sweet. Yeah. And I was like, I love to make music. And she's like, wow, I love music. And she's like, would you die for music? I'm like, what? Yeah. I was like, so confused. I was like, huh? Like, would I die for music? And she's like, yeah, like, you know, if that was the last thing you're gonna do, and this is your last like couple weeks or your last like life right now, it's like, would you die for it? So I started understanding, and I'm like, looking back why I even create music and looking how it was a beautiful escape, right? And we'll get into it, but I'm like, mental health and music, I feel like coincide a lot, where it's like music is a healing tool, right? And I'm like, growing up, music was my biggest healing tool. I escaped every reality of my childhood that was like dark and like traumatizing with a Walkman or throwing on headphones or doing something to escape. Yeah. Right. And that was like the best thing was like, oh, now I'm in school and like I don't work well in a big classroom. I'm like a very one-on-one. Yeah. But you know, we couldn't afford that and we were out of school. And so teachers teaching the 40 kids or 60 kids and I'm just like writing like raps or like journaling or poems in my notebook all the time. And I look back and I'm like, oh, music like saved me. Right. Yeah. And so then I'm like, yes, I would die for music. And she's like, no matter how sick you are, no matter how tired or how nauseous or how anxious or, you know, how long your session is, like always put music before the cancer. Whether you're listening to it, whether you're in the studio for 2 minutes, whether you're with a friend who's singing, whether you're with a friend who's writing a song and you just happen to be listening to a song. Yeah. Always make music a part of your day and always make it the most important part of your day. Wow. Right. And even it doesn't have to be long. And that's what she said. And she was like, and then like after that, I'm like, whoa. And then she's like, yeah, you have to die for music. Right. And so I'm like, okay, like that was my go-to. Cause I'm like, and my doctor overheard it. And my doctor's like, well, if you do beat this, like you make music and you can help a lot of people and like you can share your story and all this stuff. And so I was like amped. I was like, I have to beat this. Like I have to. Like and then after that, like that was the first day of chemo. And then like I just was so locked in. She's like, show up to chemo like it's school. You know, like it's a 9 to 5. Yeah. Show up and that's it. Right. Yeah. You know, but like focus on your mental health of like doing things that make you happy. Yeah. Right. And I think that perspective shaped my 20s. Right. Because now it's like, oh, this is me. Right. And then everyone meets me and they're like, oh, you're strange and weird and like very like approachable. Yeah. Right. And like I have like my unique traits because I'm like, I understand what it feels like to be hurt inside or like in pain or not feel seen or not feel welcomed. And so like I always try to make that a thing through my energy because like I am very thankful for life and so appreciative of it. Not like I'm perfect in any fucking sense, but like, you know, I think that shaped the 20s and I'm like, obviously life's this roller coaster. You have to figure it out. And I think it's like figuring out the tools that you need to be happy and be content. And so like after chemo and cancer, that journey, I'm like, again, then it comes back like, who am I? Yeah. Because you think it's kind of like this, like, well, if I do die, like I'm so happy. And like I started social media and I started doing all this stuff when I was sick. When I was done, the doctor's like, so get out of here. I'm like, what? You know, you're going to a doctor every day, like you're getting checked. You're like a baby. Yeah. I have a cold and like they give you something. My finger hurts. You know, it's like you're just being a baby and you're letting all these people take care of you. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, like get out of here. Like, what do you want to do with your life? Mm-hmm. What do you mean? He's like, yeah, you want to make music, like go after it. I'm like, wait, that's difficult. Like I'm like, that's a lot of work. You know, it sounds better when you're just like not really when you're doing it 2 minutes a day. You're like, come on. Right. And then like that's when like, and a lot of cancer like survivors like say it like after beating cancer is when like a huge depression comes in. It's like a big thing. They do like camps and like now like they have like places and facilities you can go to after because you're just so traumatized by the experience and then you're like afraid of everything or you don't want to get it again or so like that was the depression. You look at yourself and you're like, I'm 50 pounds lighter and I have no hair and you still kind of look like the patient but you're not and you're like trying to be like, how do I get healthy again. And
you're thrown back into life.
Yeah.
It's like, where do I pick up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I was going to say it's like, I mean, obviously very different, but when people like come out of jail and they're like, okay, what is life now? Like very similarly, not that you were in jail, but it's just
it's
a
like
completely
a prison
different,
in your mind, pretty much.
Oh,
yeah, it's something that you have to do. It's just a complete life shift because nothing about going through chemo is normal. There's nothing like normal about like integrating that into your life, like you have a whole new life experience now that you don't need to go be at the hospital all the time. You're like, okay, well, what do I do now? That's so, I didn't even
And
like,
then you
think
walk
about
outside and you have this appreciation for life and you're like,
For
woo!
sure.
And someone's like, get the fuck out of the road! Like, you're like, whoa! Like, like, what has happened? I'm like, don't you see the sky? And they're like, what? Like, don't you see the sunset? Everyone's like, out of my way. 'Cause they're like, you're blocking what?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
And like, then that's depressing too because you're trying to talk to people and then people are like, oh, like, what? And you're like, okay, well, am I the only one who's this like appreciative of everything? And
Yeah.
and then everyone's like, Harry's so happy all the time, or Harry's so, and it's like that's not the case. I'm just like when I leave the house, I try to like just be myself.
Yeah.
And that's like I try to be happy every day because I'm like I fucking so thankful to wake up, right? And so I'm like, how do I become my best self? And that's the everyday process of like trying.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I don't know if you guys are like me, but my closet is overflowing with clothes. But I feel like when I have to get an outfit together for a dinner, for an event, whatever it may be, I'm like struggling to pull outfits together and figure out a cute outfit because I literally just stand there and stare and I don't know what to do. But I've recently started shopping at Quince, which has just timeless classics that fit any occasion. And their clothes don't really like go out of style. They kind of just flow throughout the seasons. So I'm using this summer to fall transition as an excuse to clean out my closet and fill it with some more Quince clothing, which is awesome. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices as well, which I love. One of my favorites from them is their cashmere sweaters. It's a fall favorite. It's a classic, and comparing it to luxury brands, it is so soft. It feels the same, but it's for a fraction of the price, which we all love. You can take the drama out of planning an outfit and upgrade your closet with Quince today. You can go to quince.com/thesqueeze for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns, which is awesome. That's QUINCE.com/thesqueeze to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/thesqueeze. Enjoy that closet upgrade. If you guys are looking for a new minimal skincare routine, a good skincare company that is clean, vegan, cruelty-free, seaweed-based skincare and body care, you're going to want to keep listening because this is one of my absolute favorite skincare companies. It's Osea. If you guys have not heard of them, you need to try out their products. I have been a fan of Osea for a very long time and have been using their products in my skincare routine for at least 2 years. But I want to highlight their Plumping and Hydrating Duo, which is their Ocean Cleanser and their Hyaluronic Sea Serum. Their Ocean Cleanser is a pH-balanced formula that gently exfoliates the skin and helps unclog pores without stripping the skin. And then their Hyaluronic Sea Serum is clinically proven to instantly hydrate your skin, gives you a nice, firm, plump-looking complexion. And I have been using these two products for truly, I think 2 years, if not longer. They are some of my absolute favorite products. If you guys have sensitive skin, it is perfect for sensitive skin. Taylor's skin is very sensitive, and he's been using this cleanser too. I keep a bottle at my sink and a bottle in the shower. He's been using it for quite a while too. But the Ocean Cleanser has seaweed in it, which is rich in amino acids, antioxidants, and nutrients to mineralize the skin. And then the Hyaluronic Sea Serum has 2 types of hyaluronic acid, high and low molecular weights, which work to boost hydration, fullness, and firmness of the skin. So I think you guys should try it out if you haven't tried Osea before. I have not been disappointed any product from them. I think you guys are going to love them. And if you click the link below and use the discount code, you can save $26 plus an additional 10% off with the partner code Lemon Drops. That's plural Lemon Drops, LEMONDROPS. Click the link below in the description. Go check it out. I love OCO. How did you, I don't know if, I mean, maybe you know this. Obviously, like, we know you, so we know your story, but I feel like there's like details of it that I don't necessarily know that you may know. But how did you like find out that you were sick? Like, what was that like?
So wild. I had like an asthma attack in my sleep.
Okay.
And it happened to be like at my mom's, and my mom like woke me up and she was like, yo, we have to go to the ER pretty much. And I was like, what? And she was like, you're choking in your sleep. I guess I was just choking and I don't remember it.
Yeah. Had you done that before?
No.
Oh gosh.
And so we go to the hospital. It's like the ER in Van Nuys. And we get in and the person's like, oh, look, seems like you have asthma. We'll just put you on like a pump or whatever, the inhalers and like a treatment, and like we'll get you out of here. It's probably like 2 a.m. at this point.
Yeah.
And like if you want to talk about God, if you want to talk about so the head doctor of the hospital left his laptop and like his keys and he had to go through the ER to get back into his office. And so he's walking through and he sees me. He's not in doctor clothes. He's just kind of like chilling.
Yeah.
He sees me and he's like, what are you doing? I'm the only person there at this time. And he's like, oh, what's up? And I was like, I have an asthma attack. And he's like, cough for me. Cool. Can you do this? And yeah. He's like, come with me. So I'm okay. And we go into the like MRI. We go do like CT scan. We do like a PET scan. All this. He just turns all the machines on and like puts me through all of them. Right. And then I'm like, this is weird. And so I started getting weird feelings already. Really? Yeah. Cause I'm like, this is not normal. I'm very in tune with like myself.
Yeah.
And as crazy as it is, like I had weird dreams like growing up that I was going to get cancer. Great. Like visions, like dreams, like a lot of them.
Wow.
And I was like, I remember like, he's like, okay, we do all the scans and we're waiting for like 30 minutes, me and my mom. And he's walking down the hall and I just knew it. This is like the whole thing where like I knew I was like, something's fucked. And I was like, oh, this is like,
oh my God.
He walks down the hall with like the scans, like all like the x-rays or whatever. And he like gets on his knee and he's like, this is the worst part about my job. And I was like, oh my God. And he puts the pictures up and it's just tumors like all through my body, like a lot. And he's like, you like have tumors everywhere pretty much. And my mom's like, did we catch it early? He's like, he has to do like chemo today. So
where
pretty
did
much
they catch it? Like at what stage?
Like early stage 4, late stage 3, like the beginning of stage 4.
Definitely not early. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So my mom's like, now my mom's hysterically crying. And for me, I'm like, my mom's like my fucking person. So I'm like, and I'm the funny guy. Like I've had a lot of trauma as a kid. And so like I'm the funny guy. It's easy to like make it a joke instead of like making it my reality.
Yeah.
So I was always funny. And so I'm like, Mom, like, how do I make this funny? I'm like, Mom, it's all good. Like, whatever. Like, it's like, and I was freaking the fuck out. And I was like, what just happened? Right. And then they're like, well, we have to get you into treatment like now. And my mom's like, well, we're not going to do treatment in Van Nuys right now. Like, we don't even know. Like, we have to figure this stuff out. So the next day, like, my grandpa was on board at like at like City of Hope Hospital and like something where like we got a doctor the next day and like in the hospital. I had severe pneumonia and like we have to get rid of it was a whole thing. And now I dropped like 30 pounds in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Or 40 pounds, like something even crazier. And then because you can't do a surgery when you have pneumonia. When you have an infection, you can't be put down. Yeah. And they had to do a biopsy. They had to do like a spinal tap. They had to do something else. Like I did like 5 surgeries in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so like my body's just like, what the fuck is happening? To the point where like graphic, but like I'm pissing myself. And like, it's like I can't even go to the bathroom by myself. I have to get picked up. And like, I'm like, what? I was just like I was normal as fuck a couple weeks ago. And now it's like, I don't have the strength to do anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I start chemo. Right. And then because it was like, you had to get rid of the pneumonia. We had to like do all these like treatments and weird things that they were trying to figure out what's happening. And those like weeks were like the scariest moment of my life. Cause like they were thinking it was leukemia. So if that was the case, it would have been like 3 more weeks after that and it would have been like gone.
Really?
And so like those like weeks of figuring out what it was like the worst.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And so I had lymphoma, which is another type of blood cancer, but more curable and more like treatable. So it's like, I wouldn't say curable, but it's like treatable for sure. And yeah. And then like, so we just like started, it was like not even, it was from that day of like, you have it to like blacked out for like a year and a half, 2 years almost, like of like going through the whole.
Is that how long the journey was? Like,
Yeah.
in total?
To like get better and like fully be like clean and from everything, in remission, all that stuff.
Wow.
Wild times for sure.
Wild times indeed.
Are you like in the clear and remission? I think
Yes.
like for good.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now we passed like the 10-year, like I had it 20 and now I'm 30 now. So I'm like, woo.
Okay.
We did it. So now I'm like going into like the 30s. It's like, okay, like
Yeah.
I feel healthy, you know, and that's what we're talking about, like doing the marathon.
Yeah.
Right. It's like my 20th, I was diagnosed and I couldn't do shit. And like my 30th, I'm like, like the fact that I can have that blessing in life, and the fact it's like, wow.
Dang.
You know, I'm so lucky, and I feel like I've been still figuring out who I've been in my 20s, right? Because even after treatment, I make music, and then I get a record deal, and then my dad passes at 23, right? And I'm like,
3.
so now I'm like,
I didn't realize you were that young. Or it was
and
that
so I'm
close.
like, what just happened now? Because like he just passed from a heart attack, and that was the closest person I had, and like my biggest supporter, and my biggest fan, like my best friend. And I'm like, he was totally fine and normal. We're about to go see a movie, and then like he doesn't answer his calls, and then his friend finds him like dead on the floor, you know. And you're like, well, that's another traumatizing thing, you know. And like my brother and I had to go see him and like make sure it was him, and like it was like this whole thing of like, you want to be traumatized in your brain, like go see your dead parent, you know, like. And it's like that was heavy and weird, and that was another trauma that like just shocked my system. So now I'm not even worried about what happened before, like any cancer or anything before. Now I'm like, I thought earlier I was saying that like I came to terms with death on my side, but not death in general.
Yeah.
Because then when that happened, I was like, my world is shocked.
Yeah. And I bet you hadn't even like begun to, or maybe you had, but I mean, being that young, processing like what, you know, going through chemo and going everything that on your own, like how do you like process that, but then have to process like the death of your father right after that? Like, I can't.
It was, the weird moment was right when he passed, like I was about to go on my first tour.
Really?
And so I was like gearing up for that.
Yeah.
And I have this tattoo. I don't know what side. It's on this side. And it says singer sing when you look in the mirror. So when like I hold a microphone or whatever, you take like, it's like,
Yeah.
you see, and that's, my dad would always say that, because we'd sit on the couch and my dad's like, so sing me a song. And like, that's like like I want to impress him the most out of anybody. So I was like, nah, like I'm not ready. I'm still getting used to my voice. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
And he's like, Harry, you know, like singers sing. Like, that's what they do. And I'm like, you know, and then like this whole thing. So after he passed, like I did my first show ever 2 days after he passed.
I remember you telling me this.
And so like, they were like, you don't have to do it. And it was like more of like a pop-up kind of like acoustic show. And I was like, but singers sing, right? Like, and I'm like, my dad would be so fucking mad if I didn't do what I love because of him, because I know it wasn't his fault that he randomly passed, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to come in terms with that, where it's like I'm in so much pain, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna get closer with my dad when I'm on tour, and I can grieve with people.
Yeah.
Right. So every night at my shows, I'm like, man, this is what I'm going through right now, and like my brain is like wild. And so you have all these people coming and sharing their stories of people they've lost, and you're kind of finding like comfort in all of that, which was so unique and a beautiful experience, because I'm talking to people, and like it's not like these are fans, it's like these are like your friends and family that are showing up to support, and like they hear you and they listen to you. I connect. If someone can see you, that's what I was saying, like that's the biggest thing. It's like being heard and feeling seen. It's like so when people show up to your show, like they're definitely listening to you and they're definitely looking at you, and it's like you want to give that back in a certain way. And so that was really beautiful. But then, you know, after the tour is done, a year and a half later or whatever, then I'm like,
left alone with your thoughts.
What now?
Ooh, yeah. And here comes COVID, you know what I'm saying? And so then it's like, so my 20s were like, let me teach you some fucking lessons, right? And they're like, oh, you were quarantined for 2 years in the beginning of your 20s, we're gonna fuck you again and put back on that mask and gloves. And you're like, what? So I was kind of used to it already at that point of like, I can be quarantined, I've done this before, but I was like, I didn't. So, and that was like where I fully started grieving, and I was like, oh my God.
Interesting.
You know, and you find out through like relationships you're in, you find out like through like your friends and like life. It's like you kind of figure out who you are, and I put so much shit under the rug, because it was so quick of your life. Because you're not paying attention. It's like, you beat cancer, now go live life. And you're like, I'm so happy. And like, that's just the character I have to play.
Yeah.
I throw a mask on without even knowing I'm throwing a mask on. I'm just like, well, I'm the happy cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Duh. Like, I love life.
Yeah.
Which I do. But then it's like, then I felt like I couldn't even be sad or like, I feel like on like, especially with social media, my presence was like smiling all the time and being happy. And I'm like, it's not real. No, it's not real life. And it's like, for me, I want to figure out who I really am and then show people that, right?
Yeah.
Not like, I'm figuring it out in real time. It's like, and now I feel like I finally found that.
Yeah.
Through the process, and especially after COVID, I'm like, okay, like I know what type of person I want to be. I know what type of like husband I would want to be, a type of father or something eventually, where it's like I get it.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing that I had a dad that loved me. So it's like, oh, like I get to teach my kids one day eventually, when it's like, you had a dope grandpa that you don't know, but he's like me, better looking. Yeah. So I'm like, it's all the process of just like growing up. And I think it's so beautiful, but I feel like people put so much pressure on themselves right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been there, and I feel like we've all been there of like, don't take it so serious. You know? And it's like, there's not that much pressure to just enjoy your life, especially being in your 20s.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing. And I'm just like, I meet people and like, I'm like, oh, I'm in my 20s now. You know, I can like say that. And I'm like, yo, don't take it so serious.
Yeah.
Find good friends, find people that you can laugh with a lot, find people that you can talk real life with.
Yeah.
I see so many friends, like, you know, I'm lucky that I have a group of friends where I can like walk into a room and like be like, let's get real.
Yeah.
You know, I can talk to you. There's people I can be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and I know I feel seen. And people be like, oh, well, we're here.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what friends are for, right? It's like reach out and like, let's talk. And a lot of people are like surface level.
Yeah.
Outfit looks cute. And like, let's take pictures and like, let's like, you know, go somewhere and go to, like, it's like, let's distract with each other.
Yeah.
And we like each other's company. But I'm like, having the conversations that are not easy to have.
Yeah.
I don't know, is very special.
Yeah.
When you're like trying to figure out who you are.
Totally. I agree with that. Yeah. We've been very lucky. I feel like over the past few years, we've really like honed in on like our friend group that is able to have those conversations. And I feel like I've, for the first time, been able to like have those conversations with friends over the year. And it's so rewarding, and it's so cool to like have friends that, one, are of safe space, but like also can be like, hey, Tay, like you kind of did this, and like, just letting you know, like, this kind of hurt me, or this kind of came across this way. And I know that it's like they're not judging me. They're genuinely like, hey, I love you, but like, we should work on this. And I'm like, great. Like, I trust that. And it's so like safe having that.
And that's like becoming like the best. Your friends want the best for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, which is so hard. And you guys I love all your guys' friends. We also have like couples that are like the best.
Yeah.
You guys have like a solid like couple groups of friends that I'm like, all the married couple that's like fire.
Yeah.
And they're all like the sweetest people. I'm like, fuck, that's the dream over here.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
We do have married friends now. Makes me feel old. even though I'm 26.
You're so old, man.
So old, just like a baby.
old.
Yeah.
I did have this weird, what was it, a couple months ago? I had this epiphany, or I guess realization, that I turned 27 next year. Mind you, it's in March of next year. Like, not soon really, but I literally was driving and I called Taylor and I was like, I'm turning 27 next year. He's like, babe, it's like literally 8 months away. Like, calm down. What are you doing? And I was like, 27.
She's like, I turned 30 in 4 years.
Don't you know what's gonna happen in 4 years? Like, enjoy it. I also feel like you're super mature at your age, where I'm like, and that's the beauty, where you're like, I can keep up with people and I'm still young and like have some time to figure out some stuff. You know?
For sure. We laugh because some of our friends are literally like my parents' age, and sometimes we're like, it's kind of weird. I mean, we hang out with my parents. My parents are fun. But
Definitely.
we have those moments where I'm like, you are the exact same age as my parents. Or like, some of our friends are closer to my parents' age than my age. Like, this is funny. But I mean, you're 5 years older than me, so
okay.
I can keep up.
Anyways, moving on.
I didn't just say my age.
Okay. I have a question. We get it. I'm old. Yes, I'm balding. All right.
That's fucked up. You're not balding. Let's talk about let's put out the elephant in the room now, Taylor. Goodness, so I have 3 hats on right now.
3 hats. Oh my
He's
like, I'm going to crawl in a hole now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but I struggle to get a good night's sleep. I'm constantly waking up in the middle of the night, or I just wake up early, no matter it is and what it is. And poor sleep can cause weight gain, mood issues, poor mental health, low productivity. It can decrease your immune system. There's nothing good comes from a poor night's sleep. That's why one of Taylor and I's favorite products that we like to incorporate into our nighttime routine is Beam's Dream Powder. Dream contains powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, melatonin, nano CBD to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling refreshed. A recent clinical study actually showed that Dream helped 93% of users wake up feeling more refreshed, and 93% reported that Dream helped them get a more restful night's sleep, which Taylor and I can both speak to. We are huge advocates of this Dream product. It's delicious. It comes in a lot of different flavors, and today, you guys listening get a special discount code on Beam's Dream Powder, their best-selling healthy hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. They have delicious flavors like sea salt caramel, cinnamon cocoa, chocolate peanut butter, and better sleep truly never tasted so good. This product is so delicious. We just mix it with hot water, blend it around with our little Sminny frother, and have it before we go to bed, and it's super great. But if you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, you can get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/thesqueeze and use code thesqueeze at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/thesqueeze and use code thesqueeze for up to 40% off. Enjoy a better night's sleep.
Okay, back to my question. What words of encouragement would you give to somebody that just got or recently got diagnosed and their world just feels shattered? Is there anything to say in that moment?
And that's something that's like, it's a great question, because so many people like have friends or family that's going through, and like, what do you do and what do you say?
Feel helpless.
Yeah. So for somebody who's got diagnosed, all you can do is embrace what you're going through and know that like cancer doesn't define you, but it is definitely a part of you right at that moment.
Yeah.
And once you can embrace it and be like, okay, I have cancer, is the first step of getting over it, is how I feel. And really like dialing in with your friends. If you have friends, you know, like that's such an important piece that I had, where it was like I had friends come over. I'd be sick as fuck. Like I would be in my bed, knocked out. I'd be sleeping for hours, but I had my friends would come. I would have 7 friends over in my living room. My mom's making them dinner, or they're ordering food, and they're playing video games or watching the game. So my friends would come in my room and be like, Harry, we're in the living room. Like we're here.
Yeah.
You know, and just hearing them like, oh my God, like changed my life. I can cry about it. Cause I'm like, oh, like, you know, you could, knowing that you can't get up and interact with them, but knowing that they're there. And the reason that they're there is because of you.
Yep.
You know, like they could easily be at home, but they're all just like hanging out with each other. And we always made that a thing. Like, oh, after Harry's done with chemo, all the friends are going to meet at the apartment and we're all going to just like hang out.
Wow.
You know, and with that, like keep friends around. And you might lose a lot of friends, because I lost friends during the process, because friends, especially at that age, because I was, you know, right now I'm like, I like to speak for like the young adults in that community. But it's like, you're going to lose friends, and don't let that affect you. It's just because they don't know how to handle that situation. Yeah. For me, like, where are my best friends? Some of my best friends not around. It's like, because they're like, we don't want to see our best friend die, you know? And it's like, we don't want to see him when we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know, because they're all like, we do everything together. And then when I got sick, a lot of people were like, whoa.
Yeah, what do I do now?
You know, and like I talk to my friends now because we're still close, and I'm like, you know, at the time I'm like, that hurt my feelings. I'm like, yeah, but like you're the closest person I had at the time, so it's like I didn't want to lose you, you know. And it's like things like that, and you put that in perspective of like, okay, like it's your journey.
Yeah.
And so just like be patient with yourself, but also like find, and that's why I started my charity, Hey, I'm Here For You. Yeah. Because it's like I'm helping others find like their music. Right. So I had music to fall back on, and it's like figure out what is your music? What is the thing that makes you tick? What is the thing that gets you happy? Like genuinely.
Yeah.
Not because someone has so many likes on it, or they got the most comments because they did this trend or they did this. It's like create your own thing and like figure out who you are. And you know, those things are very unique. And so when someone's like diagnosed, it's scary as fuck and there's not much you can do. And it's like my heart breaks for those people. And it's like, how can you, now it's about like, okay, well you have it, right? And that's like find something you love to do and make that a part of your day. It's like the best advice I can give somebody. And then for someone who has a friend or someone going through that, or a family member, it's like everyone's like, oh, I get that asked a lot. Like, what do I do? It's like, just be there. Don't ask all the time. How are you feeling? You feel like shit. Like, you know, it's like, it's like, but you don't know what to do. So I get it. How are you feeling? You just want to like make them feel like, but then people just want to feel like normal and seen. And it's like, just be patient, be kind, and just be there. Whether it's bringing someone lunch or just showing up at the house or just making somebody like, hey, I'm here if you need me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why, again, started the charity. Hey, I'm here for you. I have it tatted on my palm.
Oh, stop.
Aw.
People shake your hand. They're like, what is that? It's a tat, fool.
It's a nice segue.
Yeah.
It's a fun conversation starter. I love that. Yeah, I guess we can.
Let's just go into that.
I love that. Where did that come from? Like, the foundation, where did the name come from? Like, why were you like, I'm going to start a foundation?
So when did you start it?
A couple of years back during COVID.
Okay.
I made an album, and the album's called Hey, I'm Here For You.
Yeah.
And it was like this whole thing. While I was making the album, then I got inspired to do the charity.
Okay.
And so I work really closely with Teen Cancer America, which is a foundation like started by Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend from The Who, that band. That one little band.
Yeah.
Heard of them?
And they took it from the UK and they brought it to the US. And when I was sick, I did Good Morning America when I was 20. And like they saw it and reached out. And they were like, we want you to be a part of, while I was in treatment, they're like, we want you to be like ambassador for Teen Cancer America.
Oh, wow.
And so I did that. And like, I was like going through treatment and showing people what it was like. And like, I was working with Teen Cancer America. And what they do is they build out facilities inside hospitals. Yeah. Like a safe space. So if you're a pediatric patient, you're 0 to 19. So you're 19 doing chemo with a 2-year-old. Right? So your brain is like, I can't relate to this kid and I feel really bad for this kid, but I'm also going through something too. Yeah. You know, so it's a really mind fuck. And so they build out a space because HIPAA laws say if we were in the cancer center together and I'm like, you know, I love country music and I love, you know, blah, blah, blah. Is there anybody on this floor that likes country music and you're my age or something? And they're like, you can't disclose anything. Like no little information like that, no big information, no, not even a name, not even an age. Wow. You can't, when the nurses want to so bad, right? Because they're like, I think they would be best friends. But the only way you can do that if you meet in a common ground, but there's no spaces built in any hospital. Yeah. And so Teen Cancer America has been going in and they build out spaces for teens to escape. 13 to 19, they can escape and like be in a space like this where there's computers and a TV, and it could be a podcast room, it could be a meditation room, it could be a recording studio, like just a space where young adults can go in and feel free, draw and paint or whatever. Yeah. And most hospitals do not have that. And the donations in the cancer world, like pediatric, you just go down Sunset Boulevard and or McDonald's and you see a baby with a tube in its nose and it's like, pediatric, donate to the Children's Hospital. Yeah. You know, and you donate your dolls and you donate your pacifiers and you donate your teddy bears and Barbies. So and then the 13 and 19-year-olds are like, but what do we get? Yeah. Dang. And so that's why I started the charity, because I'm like, I see it, because I was 20 and I felt alone. Yep. Yeah. So I'm like, imagine those kids. I'm like, I get the feeling. Yeah. You want to feel seen and heard, especially in that world. There's not like a teen, but there's like they made it like a fantasy, like Fault in Our Stars, and everyone's like, oh, the couples that fall in love and they're sick and dying. Where those producers hit me up and they're like, so is this right? Like, they feel like this and stuff? And you're like, what the fuck? It comes like this like sexual fantasy, almost like this weird thing that was happening where it's like all these teen cancer heartthrobs, and you're like, what's happening right now? You're like, I'm so confused. It's so dark, and you're like, I don't know what's happening. But like that's what the teens get, is like a, you know. Yeah. And these movies are not really, I don't know what they're really doing for teens with cancer, except just like highlighting it, I guess. But it's like I was so focused and so fucking passionate about building this space, and so we built it in Nashville. Yeah. As you can tell, Vanderbilt. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Just talking on the TV. there.
Was that a few years ago? When did
it
you
happened,
finish
so
building?
I think it got done about like right after COVID.
Okay.
And then now it's like in the process because you couldn't go for a couple years after COVID
Right.
because like
Yeah.
you have to monetize everything and like
Now it's really ramping up.
now that's why I'm moving over there.
Love it.
And so it's like I want to really be a part of it to focus on kids. And so we built out this cancer center and it's with teen cancer. It's with me. Kylie helped us raise money for it.
Yeah.
Because she got to come to some of the chemos when I was sick. And so it was like we're like, let's do something together.
Yeah.
Right. And
so sweet.
we got to do that, which was so beautiful. And now it's a space, and we're gonna get into the next steps of like, okay, like let's figure out how to find their music. So we're starting with Nashville, and we want to obviously expand.
Yeah.
And already hospitals been reaching out like I want to do that, but I want to figure out how to really program it right.
For sure.
So then we can be like, okay, let's copy and paste.
Yeah.
Let's copy and
Get
paste
it to
because
be
like
a well-oiled machine.
yeah, because without, they build the center and they build places where you could have treatment and stuff. And I'm like, pretty much what we're talking about. How do I be the fun uncle? How can I come in and be like, I know you're going through all this stuff, but how can I come and provide? It's like not just a dream. It's like a path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
Right? Because then the smallest thing could be, I want to act. Okay, cool. And Taylor's like, hey, I'm in Nashville okay, cool. At least out of the 155 kids, these 10 really want to act. So he can be like, oh, I'm going to come and teach a class.
Yeah.
Right. And then you might be like, hey, there's 3 kids I really like, and I feel like they have something like special. And now you're like, I'm going to put them on an email thread and like just see how they're doing once a month or once every, it's like or connect to them or however you feel.
Yeah.
So now these kids who come from nowhere can be like, wait, there's an opportunity that I would never have had ever in life. And now I have something to fight for. Wait, you're telling me that like Taylor saw me and like there's like little unique connections that I've got to have in this world. And I'm like, to build hope with kids who don't have it or have the most of it.
Yeah.
It's like really special. And I'm like, how do I build something that if a kid wants to be a scientist, like how do you lead him to or her to be that? Because a lot of these kids want to be doctors.
Oh, wow.
Because they want to
That's
find the
so
cure.
cool.
They want to figure out how to be, and so like, it's like, okay, like what college do you want to go to in the 14-year-old girl, and it's like, okay, how do we, for the next, how long are you going to do treatment? How do we provide and help you with the tools to get you to that goal?
Yeah.
Right. So now your brain's distracted with like, oh, I'm missing prom and I'm I'm missing football games. And now you're like, oh, I can be a full adult and like not have it be so serious. And it's like, oh, like I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a songwriting class today, or I'm doing, yoga today, or whatever it is. I want to provide kids to have a new vision.
Yeah.
Because I also think along with the physical treatments and the medicines, I also feel like the mental is, and I feel like that's what you guys started this, right? Was like the focusing on the mental and the mental health of what's going on in the world. Because I feel like it's been way more difficult after COVID. I feel like a lot of people's mental health like declined a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like, imagine after COVID and then getting sick, and then you're like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like the rates of young adults with cancer like spiked like 25% since COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Like
Just because people weren't like getting checked. I know.
Exactly.
I remember when I was still working at the hospital, because I worked as a COVID nurse at Northridge, and I remember hearing that like once we kind of like reopened up, it was like the number of like cancer patients like shot up because no one was like no one wanted to leave, no one was getting checked. So I mean that doesn't surprise me, but I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
did I ever even tell you that?
I think you did.
I don't know if we talked about it, but that's
That
wild.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, so like that's difficult.
Yeah.
And then you have most of these nurses quitting.
Yeah.
Because they're barely getting paid, and it's so intense, and they're trying to build real relationships with these kids who are passing away. It's like wild thing. So I'm trying with the charity, I'm trying to take care of the nurses and also the kids that they're taking care of too. So it's like providing for both worlds, because it's like they need to be there because they're pretty much prime caretakers of these kids.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Sure. How can people support your foundation?
Just by being click link in my bio. No kidding.
We're gonna link it
subscribe
below.
and like. No, so we're launching the website in the next month.
Okay.
We're really building it out, trying to get it all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like a shop and things like that. So the volunteer there's gonna be all of that. So once that comes up, I'll send it to you guys. But it's heyimhereforyou.org, right? I always get confused with the org.
Yeah.
Because it's an organization, but I'm like, oh, org. It just doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like whoever did that, org. .com, .org. Ugh. But it's heyimhereforyou.org. And we're going to have it up and running. It's going to be beautiful. We're shooting a video for it now just to like show, because I want to be the most transparent charity. I don't want to like write it from like a old man's perspective. Like this charity was started in 2019 and started by Harry Hudson. He's a singer and a songwriter from California. You know, it's like, it's just going to be a video of me like, this is why I did it. Pretty much what I just told you in 45 seconds. Yeah. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. Here it is.
Yeah.
Right. So we're making that video. And then once that goes up, then we're going to go live. And then people can donate through just buying merch or donate in general. Yeah. Or, you know, just to see, because I want to be really transparent with it. So if someone gives me money, I want to be like, it's not going to be going into a cure. Right. Because people donate so much money, trillions of dollars into the cure. Yeah. You just put it there and you don't hear back. Yeah. But if someone gave me 10 grand, I can be like, we bought, 5 laptops and 6 iPads and this, and you can show them. And then these kids we downloaded this for these kids, and they're happening to be, started putting music programs on it, and one's getting into graphic design with it. So you can kind of keep up and be like, oh, that's whoa, awesome. Like I know where my money went. And like, that's awesome. Cause I helped kids that would never have been able to be provided with those types of things. For sure. So we're building out that program we're doing, because I just want to do it right. I want to do it 100%, just like you can see where your money goes. You can, get the kids involved and start just building it out, because I want to, make it like the 100, 200 year charity, give it to like my great grandkids.
Let's go.
The process of doing it is difficult.
I can't.
So it's like, I don't want to do it and just be like, let's make money and look good.
Yeah.
It's like, let's actually do good. Let's like feel good, and let's figure out how to do that, because once it's lined up, then it's like the easiest part.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. More than on your way.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you on that. And my last little question before we head into our what's it called? Lemon 11? I almost said 11 lemons. Oh, wow. Lemon 11 segment. I would hope I would know it. This is my show. Your new song that's out, Emotional Hangover. Where did you also have a meditation version, and I would love to hear why you did that.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, because I like to talk about that. It's so funny because I was with my producer. His name is Izzy Fontaine.
Okay.
Best Izzy. Guy. Izzy's the best. And so we're together. I was doing therapy a lot with him at this time. And so I made it like a point to, after my therapy, I would have a session with him. So I'd leave therapy and go right to him and be like, that's just what I feel. Yeah. Right. And he would try to produce to the feelings I was making. Right. And we wrote that song really quick. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like, we're talking about, oh, what if we did an acoustic version or a stripped down version? And like, now TikTok's like the sped up version and the slowed down version. It's like all these things. And I was like, what about the version without me on it? And then he's like, what does that sound like? And then we're both just talking. I'm like, because we both started getting into meditation together. Okay. And I was just like, what if we made like a meditation version and take the same chords and it's the same instrument. We just like elongated everything and like put verbs and different sounds on what the produced beat was already. Yeah. And so we stripped it down, but made it more towards, and we found frequencies. Yeah. So the emotional hangover frequency is like the heart chakra. Wow. And like through like the binaural beats. And so like we just like kind of like went in on it in a crazy like weird way. Cause I was like, that's where I'm at. And I'm really focused on my mental health. Yeah. And sometimes it's like hearing a voice throws me off, and I'm a singer and like I make music, and like sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's crazy because the biggest like playlists are Hot 100, like top 100, like pop songs or like reading and meditation music. Yeah. Background music, yoga music. It's like those types of things. It's like huge. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, I meditate all the time, and it would be really beautiful to do something in that sense. And it's 5 minutes. Yeah. So I don't like sit there and, because everyone's like, how do you meditate? And it's like, if you can just like sit without your thoughts for 5 minutes, that's meditation. Right. Yeah. Right. And so it's like, all you have to do is put this song on and close your eyes. And when it ends, go start your day, go do something. Or if you're lunch break at work, listen to it for 5 minutes. And it's just 5 minutes. And you're like, okay, because the point of meditation is to come back into self,
Yeah.
right? And for me, I'm anxious a lot.
Yeah.
So if I don't meditate, I can come home, and my brother knows. He'll know. Like I'll come home and like, hey, what's up? I'm like normal for 5 seconds. I'm also bipolar, and so like I get triggered into all these like weird ass things, and then it's just like I'm not like centered.
Yeah.
And once I step away for 5 minutes, I'm like breathe and listen to this meditation songs. Then I'm like,
That'll center you.
so sorry. I was like, I was a demon. It's like, when like people, it's like, give me a Snickers or whatever that commercial is. Like, I'm a monster. Yeah. It's like, that's how it is. Like meditation. We're like, oh man, I'm sorry. I was freaking out for no reason. Like, it's not that deep. I don't know what I was doing. Like, I couldn't find my water. I'm like, everything's ruined.
Yeah.
Where's my water bottle? It's like those types. So I think I did that because I love talking about mental health now. And I love talking about meditation, how it saved my life.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to sit here and be like, I'm a yogi. I'm just saying it's just an escape to like dive back into yourself, to be like, I can go through the rest of the day and be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like overwhelmed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for all those songs that are going to come out, we're going to do a meditation version
Really?
cool.
with them. Yeah. Cause I'm like, so it's taking a little bit of time because we're like trying to make all that
double
perfect.
The amount of songs
Making a double
too.
amount of songs, and then also like trying to focus on the chakras and the healing aspects of the music. And a lot of people are like, we love the meditation versions of the song. So I'm like, I haven't really dove into it. And now like I'm about to really focus on the next couple months with like the music and this marathon, the New York City Marathon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm trying to do this whole meta world where like I'm going to start posting on social media. I haven't posted in so long.
Yeah.
And people are just like, man, what the hell? Cause also like I'm just trying to be I'm just trying to be human and interact first. Cause I was like so heavy on social media before, and now I'm just like, let me just chill. And so when I come back, I'm like, I want to come back in a really unique way and like not be the guy who's like, you've ever been through life and lost a car or something. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. And then someone's like, well, this is a song for you, or like you see all this like that's how people promote songs, and 200,000 songs get released every 2 days.
Wow.
Think about that. Like 200,000 artists are just like, here's a song that I made, and it means a lot to me.
That's so
And
crazy.
you're like, whoa. I'm like, there's so much in the world, and it's like, how do you again be your unique self and come up with something that hasn't really been released? So like, the meditation versions, the mental health. Like we're shooting this short film right now that's like building up to the marathon, and then also after the marathon. It's like,
Wow.
I'm trying to, it's like, and then it's my music's all gonna be a part of that.
Dang.
And so it's like the health, the mental health, it all leads into how music changed my life, and like helping people find again their music, whether they're sick or not sick. And it's like life's short, and we should all be doing what we love.
Yeah.
Or figuring it out what it is.
Yeah.
You're still young. You'll get it, Tay.
I'll get it someday.
She's good.
I'll find
She's
it
not
someday.
27 until next March.
Yeah, you have so much time. I remember when I was 27. Best years.
Yeah. They're good years. Good years coming.
So excited for you.
I do feel it is less scary because I like watched Taylor go through the same age. Like I watched you go through those years.
Oh, that's wild, yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
I saw him do it. Like I could do the same thing.
You got through it, I could get through it.
I can be tan and handsome.
I definitely can't be the tan part. Or definitely cannot get there.
Well, I mean, fake tan. I could spray tan.
We all have our ways. I think we're good on lemon 11.
You do?
Yeah.
What's lemon 11 though? Are we taking lemon shots?
No.
What if we did like a segment where we bite into lemons?
That sounds
Just bite into
Whoever
lemons.
like whoever makes a face first
Loses, yeah.
loses.
It's like 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. We good?
Yeah.
I'm-
Let's just do the last 3.
I'm down for the
Okay.
lemons.
Okay. We'll pluck a couple of our favorite lemon 11 questions. What is your favorite form of self-care? I mean, I feel like
Meditation would probably.
music.
Music,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, with
I guess
that,
I'm
I guess
into
with
that.
like self-care, music, working out,
Yeah.
waking up. I like sunrises.
Mm.
They're my go-to when I'm mentally healthy. I can do like last couple months. I was like, I'm gonna sleep until 9 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
And then usually I love being up like 5:30. Like I'm obsessed.
Wow.
Being up before the sun and then seeing the sun come up, and you're like, and it's like I get to have peace. That helps me a lot, so much. And then journaling.
Yep.
I always keep a journal on deck. whether it's thoughts, whether it's like, today is the worst day ever. This person just cut me off. I can write in my car. You know, it's like your gratitudes, your things like
That's
that.
awesome.
It's a nice distraction. Like every time I pick up a phone, I try to pick this right up after and be like, so what did I think? And what am I thinking? And just being present, that's changed my life.
Yeah.
Huge. Because I forgot to mention this, but I'm like, when I was diagnosed, the same woman who was like, would you die from music? She hit me with gems. And then she passed the week after that, like hit me with gems.
Wow.
It changed my life. And I go by them every day. So it's like the music, right? And then she was like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 20. And she's like, like, I remember when I was 20, and she was like, it was the best years of my life. And she was like, but I have Alzheimer's, and I had the chemo that I'm doing kind of like messed up my brain where I don't remember anything from my 20s. I can tell you, I remember how much fun I had and how free I felt, but I couldn't tell you any of my friends.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the memories.
Wow.
And she's like, my biggest regret, and you hear that before someone passes, is like, whoa. But my biggest regret is not writing down what I did in my 20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And the next day I got a journal, and I've been writing in like journals for like the last 10 years. So I'm like,
dang,
I don't want to forget. I have through pictures, and you can do all this stuff. And I'm like, it's great to see your handwriting so you can pass it down. Like imagine like your kids or like grandkids get to be like, what was this guy like?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So do you just have like a drawer somewhere
Yeah.
full of journals?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so cool.
They're hilarious.
I love
I look back and I'm like, what am I doing here? These like that was like I'm wild with the journals.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
So I think those are great for self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, my question is, who's had the most positive impact on your mental health?
Who?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It could be multiple if you can't pick one.
First one I'm going to say is Paramahansa Yogananda. Paramahansa Yogananda, my favorite. He wrote this book called Autobiography of a Yogi,
Okay.
and he brought yoga and meditation to the U.S. in 1940. And when I got sick, someone referenced this book to me.
Really?
And it's a thick book, and it's like really like deep and spiritual in that sense. Very spiritual book. But it got me into meditation, and it got me into like healing. So I think that person, it's like, he's obviously passed away, but like that helped a lot. There's a place called Lake Shrine in the Palisades.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen, like when you go down like Sunset, there's like that like temple to the left.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that. But that's like this place called Lake Shrine where you can just go, and like they have meditation rooms, and they like have like a garden that you can sit in. So like I started, and it was right next to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So I started doing that, and I think that a lot of my friends,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
my brother over here,
Yeah.
I find that through like people where it's like, I don't want to say there's one person. I think there's like,
Yeah.
You got a good
you know,
group.
it takes a village to raise
Yeah.
you. And it's like, even that goes in after,
Yeah.
right? Where you find your village, and you're like, you guys make me a better version of myself. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
That's the goal.
yeah. Yeah. And so I'm like, I wouldn't specific one person, but I'm like, an ethereal person is the Paramahansa Yogananda, because I'm like, I wouldn't want to say that. My mom, you know, she's a thug. She just retired,
Oh,
so
her.
we're hyped.
congrats.
Yeah,
Good for
no.
her.
Shout out to mom. She's in Paris right
Yeah,
now, just
let's
living it
go.
up.
Oh my
Yeah, she's
gosh.
out here.
She deserves it.
Yeah, so like she you know, was working 9 to 5 for so long, and it's like now it's all these things, and it's like she never complains. When I talk about happiness, like I'd freak out if I was working like a normal, you know. And she didn't have any parents to be like, go after your dreams, and like have friends to push her to be like, you know, it's like
Yeah.
she never had that. So she's like, I just know 9 to 5. Like this is all I know, which is most people in the world, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is all I know. And I'm like, Mom, like, why don't you go after something else and like make something that makes more money and something? And she's like, I love my friends. I love showing up to work. I love the schedule.
Mm-mm.
You know, like, I mean, she's like, it makes me happy. We laugh a lot. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you get life,
Yeah.
you know, in the way she just doesn't complain about things. It's just like, and I'm over here like, meh, like, you know, then I'll just check myself, and I'm like, okay, like, she's just happy with being happy, content, because she chooses happiness. And I think that's what you have to choose happiness. You can't just let it come to you.
There we go.
I wake up and I'm going to choose happiness today. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, I'm going to meditate,
Yeah.
work out, I'm going to run, I'm going to journal, I'm going to paint, I'm going to
Yeah.
do some
Whatever it
squats. I don't
takes.
know what it is. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different for
pickleball.
everyone. Pickleball.
I'm a
let's go.
firm pickleballer right now.
Are you?
I think.
Let's go.
Yeah. Do you? Ever since I've seen
Been playing
you,
a little bit.
yeah, I saw you, and I got really inspired.
Yeah. I need to. I'm a little rusty. I gotta get more consistent. But yeah, I love it.
When you hit the lakes next week, you can just get your game up.
Yeah, I definitely will. Okay, we'll end here. Last question. If you could go back to one moment in your life, what moment would that be? And what would you say to yourself?
I think probably after my dad passed and like telling myself to be like more kind to myself and being more patient.
After?
Yeah. Because I was just in this whole like, this weird, I was in like a dark space and I felt like I regretted a lot of things and like a lot of like, you know, you have the, I could have done something, right? You can't stop a heart attack. I don't know. Like, you know, it's like things like that where just move with love after that and don't think about bad things and like think about the positive things in life because that shapes everything else. It's like, don't focus on the bad, always focus on the good because I'm thinking every bad memory I had with my dad, that's the only things that were going through my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I not, why I couldn't remember anything good for the longest time. Because it was like all these things, like the words I said to him or saying, I'm like, duh. So I think if I can go back and do that, because that took a big toll on me of like, I lost sense of self after that. And then COVID happened. I lost more sense of self. And I'm like, okay, like this last year specifically has shaped everything. This like last 6 months or 7 months that we've been in kind of shaped everything for me. I went to this mental health space in February.
Okay.
This place called On Site. It's in Tennessee.
Yes.
And that shaped a lot.
Wow.
You know, it's like a week of like intense therapy, and it's like 2 years of therapy in a week, kind of thing, right? And
everyone we know that has gone
raves.
Yeah, speaks volumes of it.
And it's like important, something like that, where it's like there's a lot of places like that, but that place specifically like shaped a lot of under the rug stuff that I kept under.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was because of the passing that I just was like, don't focus on anything. And then I'm like, then it all explodes out of nowhere. And you're like, what is all of this? I never unpacked.
Yeah.
And so I think just being kind and patient to yourself when you're grieving, and that was a big one.
I love that.
Right there.
That's beautiful.
Love that.
Well, thank you so much for being here. If more people in the world could have the outlook on life that you do, the world would be a very, very, very beautiful place.
That's really funny you say that, because my dad said the exact same thing on this tattoo right here. It was like his last letter he wrote for me. That's literally exactly what you just said. Is like this.
No
Other
way.
words, yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh.
If someone can show the world how to live, it'd be you. But I'm like, very nice, and I had to put that on my arm. But like,
You sound wrong.
but I'm like, I'm figuring this shit out.
He's
I'm definitely just
wrong.
on the path of figuring. I'm very adamant about I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
And we should all be
are.
figuring it out. You know.
Absolutely. Love you, buddy.
I love you. Love you. I love my Taylors. I love life, and keep on rocking in the free world.
Let's go. Squeeze out.
Squeeze out, baby.
Wow. Squeeze out goes crazy. Oh man.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed talking with Harry. So you can scroll down and check out all of his info below. And also while you're scrolling down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any content from us, and also helps us a lot. You can also follow us, Tay and Taylor Lautner, on Instagram. You can follow The Squeeze on Instagram as well as on TikTok. We'll leave all of those links down below for you. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.